Hey everybody, this is Jure from the past doing the narration on this video. Just because Jure in the present wants to stand up there in the front and do nothing like a fat piece of furniture. So in order to save him from abject failure, I'm having to do all the heavy lifting. Here is Signia Connex version 9.7.0.144. So let's start off at the top right where you can use your various connectors. So the HiPro, the Norlink, and the Norlink Wireless. This is where you select which connector you're using. Let's go into the hearing aids. I chose to fit with Pure Charge and Go 7X's, the highest technology level, because this has rocker switches and I'd be able to show you exactly how to program those. If you open up the little product details window, you see all the hearing losses that this one is able to accommodate and what domes accommodate those losses. And you can get a clear view of the audiogram that is put in through NOAA. Over on the left, you see the various colors that the hardware actually comes in. So you hit the sender button right here, and you're going to wait a while because it's Signia software. Awkward, ain't it? So here you can change whether you have a dome or a mold, and you can change what type of dome you have if you switch the domes out. So let's pretend I did. Have a couple of semi-open domes. Critical gain, this is a fancy way of saying feedback manager. So if this wasn't in the simulation mode and this was just in the actual mode with a hearing aid hooked up to it, you'd be able to start the feedback test, get that all squared away, change where this top line is and what the limits are to your output. And if you don't want to cross over that feedback test, then you can hit the limit gain to statistical gain curve and you'll never go over. Got this part right here if you just did an RECD. If you're using NAL, NL1 for some ungodly reason, you can do an REUG, put that in. And right here is where you actually switch your fitting formula. So XFit is the proprietary one, but you have NAL, NL2 right over here. You change your acclimatization level, switch from non-tonal to tonal if you are fitting for someone who speaks Vietnamese, and then you hit this first fit button. There, now all my gain and output has been adjusted for NAL, NL2 targets. And let's go into the basic tuning, where you have master gain, and then you can adjust for loud, medium, soft sounds, or speech. And this, again, is in very, very broad strokes. Nothing particularly frequency specific here. If you want frequency specificity, go into frequency shaping. So as you can see, all the bands are sort of organized in duos. So you can click on this band right here, and it will move two as if it was one fader. Now, you're not out of luck if you just want to move the 2200 knob but not the 2000 knob. You're totally fine. You can move just one. It just doesn't look like you can. And actually, if you want to highlight a region and control everything with one, you can. So it doesn't look like it's as customizable as it actually is. Let's go into the MPO, which is actually very, very weird numerically. As you can see, there is no like top end dB value. We're used to seeing MPO 104 or MPO 97, saying that at 97 decibels, that's the top level that this hearing aid is going to reproduce. That's not the case. So if you take a look at the Barber Pole pattern, the Good Humor Ice Cream Man sort of pattern you got right over here, then you can see that this area is what the hearing aid is going to not allow. That's where the MPO is set. Anything below this line, the hearing aid is going to be able to reproduce. Above it, not so much. And this is the amount of attenuation. So 18 decibels from the max is the MPO. 24 decibels from the max is the MPO at this frequency region, etc., etc. So watch what happens if I highlight the regions with a really, really low MPO and crank it. You'll see the stripediness go away. Is that a word? I don't care anymore. Now, if you want to see the compression levels, the G50, the G65, and the G80, then you can look at it through this window and you'll be able to adjust just normal speech, just quiet speech, just loud speech. But there isn't any knee points or actual numbers so you can see your compression ratios, right? If you want to do that, then you need to go into this second tab over here that says knee points and ratios. So you can see CK1, CK2, so compression knee point 1, compression knee point 2, CR1, CR2. So CR1, you can see all the compression ratios between the minimum level and the first knee point, looking okay. And then CR2, wow. Yeah. So let's get out of that window. That's terrible. You have frequency compression right over here, which is frequency lowering. So you can turn this on. And the way this is set, F-min is basically what frequency are we compressing to? So we want to compress all the stuff above 6,000 right here where this little thing starts to be within 5,000. F max is what's the last frequency we care about. So if we set it to 7, that means that anything that is above 7,000 hertz, we're just going to sacrifice it. There's no saving it. Let it go. Whereas everything that's 7,000 hertz and below will be compressed to be within 5,000 hertz. If 5,000 hertz is still bad on that patient's audiogram, you can compress it to within 4,000 hertz, etc., etc., etc. So sound settings, you have your E-windscreen binaural, so wind block. Sound smoothing, so that's impulse noise attenuation. Feedback cancellation, enough said. And then if you wanted to adjust some of the speech and noise settings, you can do the broadband adjustment here, minimum, medium, maximum. Or you can go into multi-channel. So if I want a lot of low speech and noise adjustment, I can, but leave the high frequencies pretty much alone. Microphone modes, true ear is basically omni. Adaptive directional is adaptive directional. Binaural directional, that's some of that beam forming to get the tighter, more focused pattern. Then spatial speech focus in order to find where speech sources are coming from. And you can turn those on or off as you like. Fitting assistant. For those of us who really don't want to work, you can just go in. Sound quality is not clear in general, and it will give you your 2 proposals, and you can apply them. If you're truly uninitiated and lazy, if you turned in your 2-week notice in, this is a great tool. Audio streaming. So if you have most other hearing aids, the audio streaming might be really similar to your actual hearing aid settings. This is completely different. You've got the bass bumping in the audio streaming, even though it's not that way with the regular hearing aids, just listening to speech. So if I wanted to adjust these settings, like if I know my patient's going to listen to a lot of audiobooks and want to hear what people are saying, then I can pick up some of those high mids. If my patient listens to a lot of Fetty Wap and no one understands what he's saying anyway, you might as well just turn that bass right back up. So you got the tinnitus masker right over here. Turn the sound therapy on. And you can adjust the various frequencies for the tinnitus masker if you want to make your own custom profile. Or you can do white noise, pink noise, Brownian noise, what have you. The one I wanted to point out is ocean waves because that's different. This one has different sort of amplitude modulation envelopes. Amplitude and frequency modulation, sorry. And then you can have Boulder Beach, Rocky Beach, Paradise Beach, or a famous golf course. And if you want to just listen to the famous golf course, you can turn off mix with microphone. If you want to listen to the actual golfers and not just the course itself, you don't want to listen to the grass grow, then you can put in mix with microphone. And then you have notch therapy right here. You have your tone A, tone B. It's kind of like we did with the tinnitus lab, where we had to find the frequency based off of asking the patient questions. If you want to do manual matching yourself, you can. Or if you just feel lucky, just hit a button. Why not? Personalization just gives you start date, end date, tells you what programs are being used, what ones are not. Pie charts, graphs, other things we don't like. You see this right here, the various programs that are being used: quiet, noise, music, car. What is nice about the best Signia match section right here is that you can see like how much utility they're getting out of their technology level. So if this person had a 7X, they would get 100% of the things they use. If they were to drop down to a 5X, they would get 89% of what they'd use. So they get this 11% benefit from jumping up a technology level. 3X, they lose another 8%. So they get an 8% jump in utility here, an 11% jump in utility here. So this would be a great counseling tool after like a demo period to show them like, hey, here's how much you're going to sacrifice by selecting various technology levels. And so that way they can make an informed decision. Acclimatization, if they need time to adjust to the gain, especially if they're a new user. And here's the configuration. So enable rocker switch. So you have the rocker switch on the right side for volume, and you can add a function to the medium press. So let's say a medium press is a program change. Then we already have volume on this side. Might as well add something different. Tinnitus therapy sound volume, and then tinnitus therapy sound volume. Let's do a TV stream. Now, these buttons make absolutely no sense. You're going to confuse your patient. Don't lay out your buttons like this, but I'm just showing you what the options are. So here are the system sounds for demoing purposes. You can show them exactly what it sounds like when programs change, low battery, Bluetooth, what have you. The low battery interval is how often the low battery warning is going to play. So how annoying do you want your hearing aids to be to your patient? Here's just a list of the HATs and ALDs you have. And then program handling. This is actually more important than it looks. I don't know why they put this at the end, but forget it. If you wanted to add a program, here's where you can do it. TV. Do phone, twin phone. Might as well. And then you can go back into fine tuning, pick your program, and then only adjust the frequency shape for that one program. So let me do one big fat overzealous adjustment. Oof, TV is sounding awful right now. And then you go back into universal and everything sounds better. And so this is all that I'm going to look at for right now. I'm going to show you how to get into the anti-test box stuff, but I actually need a hearing aid hooked up to get access to that menu. So just give me a quick second, and Jure from the future past, but not the past past, will do the narration for that part. This is Jure from the past past saying bye and passing it off to Jure from the future past. Got it? Good. Bye. Thank you very much, Past Past Jure. This is Future Past Jure coming to you in a much more fatigued and dreary state. I'll say this right off the top. The good narration's over. This presentation's going downhill very fast. So, first of all, let's get to the top right and select the Neuralink Wireless so we can hook up our hearing aids, because Signia lies to you and says you can do everything through the simulator, but you absolutely cannot. And then just watch this little green circle, and we're going to have to get used to this because this software is not the fastest. So when you check the right and the left, watch for these little warning symbols. That means that you've put the left one on the right and the right one on the left. So then you want to make sure that you put them in their correct designations, and you won't have those little warning symbols that are at the bottom. This indicates that you've put the hearing aids on properly, and they will be read by the system in a very painstakingly slow speed. All right, so now we just choose the technology level for our hearing aids, and we pick the maximum level just to show all the features that are possible. And I'm just going to take some editorial liberties and just cut to when this is done. So now we're back into the main window, and you want to navigate up to the very, very top left of the screen. You go up above where it says audiogram and hearing aids, go up to where it says fitting. Then you want to click the option that says test settings. That will get you to where you can actually do full-on ANSI settings. So go under here, make sure before you turn full-on gain that your hearing aids are not in your patient's ears. Otherwise, you will never have that patient again. Or if you really want to make sure you never have that patient again, put those hearing aids in and turn on full-on gain. Let me turn this off though right now. And next we have a couple of other test settings that you can activate. One will have your microphones available in omnidirectional mode. So if you want to test, the microphone balance in 360 degrees, this is how you do it. And then the other test is for in situ measurements for directional microphones. So you can see how the directionality is working. So let me turn all of these off. And then, these are the ways to activate the various microphone presets that you need to do proper ANSI test box measures. So that way you can read the distortion, see it at 42%, and throw those hearing aids right back at the manufacturer's face. So nonetheless, this has been the presentation of Signia Connex version 9.7.0.144. Don't know why I repeated that, but I guess it just felt right today.